Okay, we have here a stihl MS290, and it bogs and just dies on the guy. So we got a fuel issue here. It's a little nasty in there, but that'll blow right out. If anything, that will not cause a fuel issue. It'll just make it run rich. Well, this one's running lean. It's bogging. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig in here and see what we can figure out. I'll get some tools to take this off, and then we'll check out the fuel line. We'll check the fuel line inside the tank. We'll check the filter in the tank and see what we got around here. Here's our tank filter. I wonder if I can get it out with my finger. The fuel line feels good. It's not like crusty or funky, and it hasn't broke on me, so the filter looks good. So I'd say, yeah, when you pull on a line that hard and it doesn't have a problem, then usually your fuel line's pretty good. So that looks pretty good in there. And the filter looks good, and his gas looks good, and it's just got to be dead crap in the carburetor, unless there's a fuel line problem up top here, which we will pull the top apart. Like I said, I'll get some tools and we'll get into this, but the fuel line and filter look good in there, and the fuel line comes up through there. So we'll see what we can do. I'll be back. I'll get some tools. We'll get this air filter off of here. And I'm going to blow this whole saw out and do a little service on it, because it's very dirty. So there's our carburetor, and there's our fuel line underneath it, of course. I'm going to have to get an 8mm and take this carb off. But I think I'm going to bring this over by the air compressor. And, you know, I should pull this side cover too and blow out the cooling fins and stuff, because this one's very dirty. I think I'll do that before we get too deep involved here. Well, it's almost like if you own a chainsaw, you should own an air compressor, because all this glom in here just causes them to run hot. I'm surprised this thing starts, because the whole center of the flywheel is just full of sawdust and crud, and the cooling fins in there have some crud around them. So, like I said, I'm going to blow this whole thing out. I'm going to scrape some of this crap out of here, and I'm going to blow this saw out nice so it can cool better. And then, like I said, we'll get back to working on the carburetor so it runs better. But like I said, look at this mess in this chainsaw. It is full of crud. So we'll bring it out and blow it out first thing. And like I said, this is really something that needs to be done regularly to your chainsaw. It's part of regular maintenance, because you get plugged up with chain oil and sawdust and all kinds of cruds, and this is what you get, a mess. So make sure you can see fine. Yeah, see all that mess? So yeah, this is going to go outside and get blown out and scraped out and cleaned out. And then we'll bring it back in and see what's wrong. Probably crud in the carburetor. May just order a new one. Not sure. We'll see. Okay, now that looks much better inside there. You can see right down in the fins, and I cleaned everything out. It's really nice in there. There's some superficial little pieces of dirt here and there, but I got all the main junk out of the fins. I blew out the cover, like I said, a little dirt, but at least nothing's plugged. So we're doing this for some good here. So I'm going to put this back on, then we'll jump into the carburetor. Okay, back to this chainsaw. I just want to let you know, besides all what I'm doing there, I empty the fuel out into a big clean bucket And there wasn't much gas in it. Of course, it's only a little tank, but there's some cruds in there. But I don't see any water, so that wouldn't cause the problem it's having. It's just plain bogging. And I adjusted the carburetor out as wide as I could get it. You know, the adjustments on the side here, there's a high and a low on the side. I adjusted them out as far as they'll go, and it's still just boggy and crappy. These carburetors are just like not really worth cleaning. You can get them pretty cheap, so I may just order one and get it tomorrow, put it on here, adjust it, and see how she runs. So we'll be back. Okay, I am back to work on this stihl MS290 chainsaw. I already disconnected the throttle linkage. It's really simple on these. You just kind of, it hooks in there like that, and then when you press the throttle, you'll see where it hooks in there, and you just got to pop it out of there and pop it back in there. So that's pretty simple. Then we can take the nuts off the carburetor. I got the new aftermarket carb for it. So we take these off of there, and I got the new air filter, but the whole kit, you know. It comes with the fuel line, but this fuel line's like perfect on here. So I don't really believe I need to do all the fuel line and everything. It's pretty clean in there. I think this is just from dead gas, you know, the alcohol gas we got nowadays. It sits in your carburetor and just eats crap away and makes your carburetor a mess. Let's see, pull the little spacer off. I think you can see good, right? Yeah, good view. Pull the carburetor out. Should be able to get it out of there without too much trouble. Like that. Come on. What's it hanging up on? Oh, the one fuel line, which, like I said, looks really good. So, oh yeah, it's even puffing out fuel. Okay, so that's good. This check valve here, I want to double check that also, because if that's plugged up, it'll cause a problem. It has to, let's see, it has to let air through one way and nothing through the other way. So I think it's good. I just blew through it. Yeah, seems to be okay. Yep. So that little valve is good. The fuel line is good. And of course, this is your little pump activator, that little piece down there. Like I said, these fuel lines look great on here, like new yet. So I don't feel I have to change that. But if you do have to change that, you can just pull it right out of the tank and shove it back in. It's pretty easy. Let me get the new carburetor over here. Okay, so here's our new carburetor. The fuel line is on this side, and automatically as you push the carburetor on there, this other one lines up with that fuel pump one and goes right in place. And it's pretty simple stuff. You just got to put this back in there. Oops, which way was it? I done goofed it up. Looking it over here. But yeah, it goes back on. And it slides right in there. And that kind of guides your screwdriver in there. And the other line went on nicely. So there it is. A pretty simple carburetor change. And I'm going to put some good gas in it. And fire it up. Uh-oh. That didn't go right. Come on, get in there. Okay. That's the guides, like I said, for your screwdriver. You gotta make sure they're lined up with these little screws, which they are. Okay, so we got that done. We're gonna put these nuts on. Then we'll hook up the little throttle linkage, which is very easy also. It still looks a little dirty in here, but it's just superficial dirt. It's not plugging up anything. Chainsaws are dirty critters. I always tell people, if you own a chainsaw, you should own an air compressor, because you gotta blow these things out once in a while. Now, on the other carburetor, there is a little rubber piece I gotta take off and put on this carburetor. Now that the carburetor's in place, it's a little easier. So I do that afterwards. Make sure it's all the way on. Nope, it's good. Then I can put our air filter back on. I hope I can put my air filter back on. It's going to be one of them goofy things. It's not going to fit or something. And it's going. It's just very tight. Which is kind of okay, I guess. Does it fit on there? Aftermarket stuff sometimes is a little bit off, but it seems like it's going on there. Let's snug it up and see. Get it nice and straight. That doesn't feel right. There it goes. Get this one on there for them here. Oh, and what I'm going to do is, since it fits a little funky, I'm going to look in the back and make sure it tightens up all the way. We don't want that leaking. Yep, that tightened in. And that tightened in. So, that looks good. Now I just got to put some mixed gas in here, which I got on the other side. And we'll see if she fires up. Then we might have to do some fine tuning to the carburetor. And I got to bring my mixed gas home because I got some branches down there. So, I got to clean that up. We'll put some gas in here for the guy and see how this new carburetor works. You may have to do some adjusting, I'm not sure. But I'll spin you guys around so you can kind of see, I hope, that what's going on with this. This guy's a lifelong person I've known. Yeah, you know what? I almost forgot to put the throttle linkage in, which is kind of silly. I'm supposed to be a mechanic. Yeah, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But like I said, it's simple anyway. You just can push the throttle out and pop it in place, basically. Sometimes they're a little tough to get in place, but that's how it works. Come on. Get in there. Alright, there we go. Here's the throttle. Then this little vent thing here goes right in there. Or did I put it in upside down? Which way does that thing go? I forget. That doesn't really make sense, does it? Yeah. Oh, I forget. It went this way. That's right. It goes all the way down. That's a vent. Then we'll put the cover back on. And that was a easy carburetor change. Now let's see if it all works out for us here. Ooh, 10 pulls. That's a lot. Well, it runs pretty good. I had a hard time getting this thing to idle though. If you run it too rich, you get that stutter. I'm going to just take a look at this idle screw and see if it is doing anything. Yeah, it's in there. Let's flip it. Maybe I can see the throttle. See what the heck? Yeah, it's still moving the throttle a little bit. But boy, that's not wanting to idle down all the way. I've had these aftermarket carbs give me trouble like that before. They're okay, they run, but you can't get a brand new carburetor for one of these at a decent price anymore. So you gotta buy the aftermarket, and they're okay, they run, but you're just a little finicky. You gotta get them adjusted just as right as you can and settle for it. Let's see that it starts back up. Okay, that's it. That's a done deal, I guess. The stihl MS 290. It's back in action. It pumps a lot of oil, though, but they all do, I guess. Okay, bye.